Alright. Hello everyone, and welcome back for a new version of Let's Play 13 Sentinels.
Version.
Yes, version. The hamsters ain't working, I tell yous.
Welcome to 13 Sentinels 3.5.
Something like that.
What about the
Actually, my Switch did update between the last session and this one, so, you know.
Huh.
Welcome to part 65 of the hamsters on
Oh, we're
strike.
further than that. We're about part 80 right now. Anyway, joining me is JK Lantern.
We weep for our ancestors.
StarPrincessHLC.
Is it the garage will review our yakisoba pan video?
He should weep for his ancestors for that video.
At least you use the right noodles.
Sort of.
I used the right neighborhood of noodles.
Yeah. And Layla M.
I don't have a funny intro, so I'm just gonna segue into, I have one note, a singular note. So, what do we know so far about the guns? The phaser, the magical gun, all that.
Okay, we know that the phasers can be used to either kill or stun somebody. The phasers are the bigger, bulkier, they look like, you know, a 44 Magnum hand cannon on steroids.
From space.
Yeah, from space. They're big, they're bulky. When you shoot something with it, electricity arcs off of them. The magical gun, when it hits somebody, it leaves a little puncture mark. And in Natsuno's case, when she got hit with it, it left like an indentation that looked like a 17.
So, we know now that the pills, the medicine that the amnesiac kids are taking, those have nanomachines in them.
Correct.
Is it possible that the magical gun is also injecting nanomachines?
Very. But I don't have proof yet.
So, is this what the idea that we've been operating on this whole time?
I haven't been operating on any ideas about what the magical gun has done yet. I'm not operating under anything there yet because I don't really know, but I do have theories.
Oh, it's gonna be so much fun when the specifics of what the magical gun is doing is revealed. It's gonna be so much fun.
I mean, I think we're both thinking right now that it's what's giving the kids the ability to summon the Sentinels, right?
Not exactly, not in my case. Because some of them apparently have had the ability to summon that Sentinel long before the magical gun got involved.
Well, the gun might be for acquiring new people to, like, connect to the new Sentinels, or, like, the Sentinels that don't have someone piloting them yet.
See, you would think that, and that actually is a possibility, except they shot Keitaro with it.
And Keitaro was already operating
Keitaro was already operating a Sentinel when he got shot with it.
As far as we know.
I mean, he arrived in 1985 in that sector via Sentinel, and then got shot by Megami.
Huh.
So, put a pin in that for a second.
I have to write yet another hilarious note that is very similar to my favorite note that I have written down here.
Okay, so hang on. I want to bring up some inconsistencies I'm noticing about the whole DD426 situation. We remember what DD426 is. At least as far as what we've seen so far. I mean, Lantern and Star probably remember something much more about it, but I don't know.
From my understanding, it's a virus. That's what I remember.
That's a good way of looking at it.
And it's eating away at their brains,
and it's,
right?
Yeah, from what the description was, it's causing their nanomachines to basically sever from their brains, and in doing so, it tears away a chunk of their brains related to memories.
And the pills are trying to counteract
And the pills were designed to counteract that. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. Izumi's actions, at least before we had Fluffy and Kyuta showing up, have all been in support of Chihiro. Every single one. He's been behind her the entire way, helping her out as often as he can. Would you agree there?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. And I mean, even to the point, she shot him after he, killed a bunch of kids. He gasped out how everything he did was for her.
I ship it.
So, we know Chihiro is trying to stop the worlds from looping. We know this. Chihiro wants to stop the loops from happening.
I thought that was Ryoko.
No. Ryoko is a whole nother can of worms, and we don't know every motivation she has, except she seems to be in love with Tetsuya Ida. And Tetsuya Ida does not want to stop the loops. He wants them to keep going. We don't know why yet, and I'll kind of get into that in a minute. But Chihiro trying to stop the worlds from looping. Everything we've seen, and I admit it hasn't been much, but everything the game has shown me says Izumi was the one that wrote the DD426 code that infected everything. We know what that code did. It made the Sentinels basically shut down and caused them to lose the battle, which brought them a step closer to starting a new loop. And right now, there doesn't seem to be any other reason that DD426 exists except to make the Sentinels unable to stop the loops. That's the only reason I can see DD426 being in existence yet. We know Tetsuya wants to continue the loops. We don't know why. So, my guess is that Tetsuya had the Sentinels infected with DD426. It got spread to the other Sentinels during the Battle of 2064. We don't know why, but from what he said on the rooftop, he wanted a change of leadership, so he might have just been doing it to undermine Chihiro, for all we know at this point. Now, given the fact that those two have very opposing goals here, where would Juro fall on this scale? So far, he hasn't actually been hostile towards Tetsuya, but hasn't actually seemed to be friendly with him, at least nothing we've seen. So to me it seems really unlikely Juro would even help Tetsuya out to begin with, especially to try to get one over on Chihiro. So this is just causing a huge contradiction. So unless DD426 has some other purpose we haven't seen yet, I can't see why Juro Izumi would create it. So either DD426 has a function we don't know about, or Juro didn't actually create it.
He could have named himself after DD426.
I don't think he was...
That's his prison number.
That was his prison number, yeah.
Okay.
So, going off of that, we have a fairly high probability that Jiro/426 already took over Android Tomi by the time A. Sekigahara ran into her in the lab underground. Also, that means he was the one that created at least that one batch of pills for Sekigahara.
Something just occurred to me.
Yeah?
Could 426 be a Juro AI?
Could be. And that's something else I'm going to get into very soon. So, if Juro, as 426, in Tomi, or whatever form he's taking, knew that it's some type of impediment to the plans Chihiro's making, it seems pretty likely 426/Jiro, whatever you want to call him, would try to find a way to more permanently counteract it. If he could create a rough antidote to DD426, it seems likely that after he got a little more information or help, it seems like he could come up with a way to permanently counteract or immunize against the infection. Now, the Sentinels so far, we've noticed that they've mentioned that, oh yes, they've been infected, and we've heard that multiple times, but so far nobody has said they figured out how to cleanse the Sentinels of the infection. Now, Okino did manage to perform surgery on Keitaro and give him an implant that allows him to pilot a Sentinel safely. If the Sentinels are still infected, the implant is probably there to do something about keeping DD426 at bay, along with a contagious forced activation code. So Keitaro could try to spread whatever's preventing DD426 from affecting him to others just by touching him. If not, we don't know why that implant exists yet. We know other implants do exist, but not every pilot has gotten one yet.
I hear you laughing, Star.
It's because Lantern's doing funny things and you can't see it.
However,
Like he's currently doing the monkey.
However, see, the thing is, Okino couldn't get to all the pilots and get them an implant, as far as I know.
I'm mature.
But by the time we hit this big final battle that apparently is happening over the course of a full day so far, apparently, the one where we're actually in combat and we do the RTS stuff, it seems like every single pilot there has actually been shot with the magic gun.
Even Juro?
Unknown, but it seems like he would have actually been hit. I mean, Megumi's right there with him. We haven't actually seen everybody get shot yet, but it just seems like that's where this is going. I mean, yes, I'm trying to infer things from very incomplete data. But pilots shot with the magic gun, the only ill effect so far I've seen of anybody getting shot with that magic gun is they lose their memory for a little bit of time around when they get shot. And that's it.
Yeah.
So right now, my thought is that whatever they're getting hit with from... And I'm just going to call it an injector gun because that's clearly what it actually is instead of a magic gun.
I'm going with magic.
Yeah.
It's clearly a magic gun.
Clearly a magic gun. Okay, we can still call it a magic gun.
It's
but
magically injecting.
Whatever it's
delicious.
doing seems to be inoculating the pilots against DD426.
It turns out it's concentrated Lucky Charms that they've been shooting into each other the entire time.
Concentrated leprechauns.
Oh, God. I don't know if that's better or worse.
Lucky
It's
wasn't
worse.
so lucky.
It's much
blood,
worse.
their blood is rainbow colored now.
Happy Pride Month when we're recording this.
Happy Pride!
Happy Donkey Kong December.
Happy Donkey Kong December.
You know, it'll be November when it'll be late October when this goes up.
Oh, thank God. I was
Yep.
worried there for a second.
Then we would have had to switch to Okusa in October.
Yep.
So, going off of that, we know Tetsuya Ida spent years trying to bring Tomi back to life as an android. 8 years, I think, is what he said.
I believe that's correct.
And that was after Jiro Izumi shot and killed her on that one bridge. So, my thought, Tetsuya want revenge. And so he either managed to write that code, or if Izumi actually wrote it, he got a hold of that code and spread it around trying to pin it on Jiro. All in retribution for what 426/Jiro did to Tomi. And I'm not just talking about the fact that he shot and killed her on the bridge. I'm talking about the fact that he went in and took over her android. After Tetsuya spent 8 years putting it together.
Suddenly reminded of the Crash Dummies cartoon, which is funny because I don't think anybody actually watched the fucking Crash Dummies cartoon.
Yeah, I was just jumping back to like last night's Final Fantasy VI stream.
Humpty Dumpty?
Exactly.
Okay. But the only counter I have to Tetsuya being the one to write DD426 is that 426 wrote the counter and put it in the pills really damn easy. So he probably knows what the code is in the first place and knows how to do something about it. So he is still most likely the one that wrote the code in the first place. Now, I've had more thoughts. This is what we get.
Is this the one you had while we were... What the fuck? While we were recording something else last week?
No, that's the next one.
Is
Oh,
this
God.
the one you DM'd me about?
Yes. So, I did it in private. I'm going to do it. Although I did tell you, Lantern Star, I did tell you a little bit about this. But this wasn't the one where inspiration struck while we were recording, no.
Because that was really fucking funny.
But, again, I have to thank you, Layla, because you started me down this little path.
You're welcome.
So here's the thing. I was stuck on this whole thing that the clones were being treated like Matrix, where the clones were directly controlling their AI. So when a loop happened, it's like I couldn't quite pin down exactly what was going on. However, after that discussion with Layla, it's that, wait a minute. This is going to be more like what they did at the end of Danganronpa 2, where the clones are just kind of inert shells, but they've got the personality matrix, the AI consciousness, personality matrix, whatever, uploaded into the system.
Did I say that?
You didn't say that, but what you said got me thinking down this path. And it's like, okay, whenever a loop starts, the system, it reads the DNA of the protagonist and creates a new personality matrix, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, and uploads it into the simulation to basically start out as baby and grow and learn just like any other human would, even though it is in the simulation. The consciousness, we have evidence that they are capable of surviving the end of the loop and the restart, but that doesn't look like it was intended by design. That looks like people lucked into or figured out the workaround. It looks like once the loop ends, those matrices are gone. Generally. But we don't know. I do not know. That's a complete and total guess. But
I honestly really like that theory.
okay, so how this all works, a loop starts. The startup procedure, you get all the protagonists here, the chosen ones, whatever you want to call them. It creates the matrices.
These dumb fucks.
Yeah,
These
these bastards. These fucking bastards. Anyway, and they take the form of a baby in the simulation. It grows as a normal person would, gains the knowledge and experiences that it does, working under the assumption that this realm of science is actually fully capable in this universe. And in the simulation, you can't tell it from living in reality. Not that they have anything to compare with. So the consciousness learn, they grow, they fall in love, they attend school, and live life. Along with a bunch of other AI. What were you about to say?
I sort of assumed that, like, the loop resets at, like, teen age, like, whenever, like, they remember the loop start, or, like, wherever the last one left off. Like, wait.
Now,
no,
see,
wait.
That may have been the intent. I don't know. But that's not what's been happening.
You know, I just confused myself. Never mind.
So, but there is a difference between the main characters' AIs and the generic AIs that kind of fill out all the extra bodies in the simulation. All the main characters, they all get special privileges. And I think the interlocutors might be the most relevant term here, because we've heard that one a few times, and it's specific to what we're talking about. But they have the interlocutors, and thus they have special privileges, which allow them to shift between the sectors and visit the other quote-unquote timelines. And it also allows them to pull in Sentinels and things like that. But meanwhile, you have the meat bodies that are sitting in clones in pods, but right now they're inert. You can stick the AIs can be forced, or if they figure out how, they might be able to do it willingly, I don't know. They might be forced to go into those bodies and wake up, which we've seen one example of when Ninji was like, where's Tommy? Did you see Tommy? And you've got someone yelling at him, do you have the key? And they just kind of talk past each other. We've seen that before.
Damn it, guys, send you back.
Yep. Send you back, go get the key.
Get your ass to Mars.
Yep. Although that's not Ninji, that's Sekigahara. But anyway. Now, as for what happens at the end of a loop and what causes the end of a loop, again, I'm going to say that my guess is that in pretty much all cases, the consciousness get erased when the servers reset. If they can get into their body, they manage to survive. We've seen that happen with, I want to say, 5 different characters so far? No, 4. 4 that I can confirm I think we've seen it with. We've seen Juro, Chihiro, Tetsuya, and I'm pretty sure the Keitaro, Miura, and BJ is could be from a previous loop. But like I said, the only way I think that happens is they manage to get uploaded to their clone while the reset's happening. Need a lot more data there, but right now that's what I'm thinking of. And if we find out what happened to the Okino that sent Shohiro and Juro onto the next loop, then we'll have more data.
He went to Denny's.
He went to Burger King. He's waiting on other people to get him his items. He went to Burger King.
He wanted to get cigarettes.
So now, in terms of loops, I'm pretty sure we're on the third loop. The meat of this game seems to take place on the third loop. At least the third loop that we have any actual information on. There could be a lot more loops that happened before loop 1, and we just never saw them because absolutely nobody was there. But the first loop we know about consisted of an Okino, a Juro, and a Chihiro, which right now I'm going to call them Okino, Juro, and Chihiro Prime, where they were poking around the inside of a UFO after the world was dominated by kaiju to some extent. And this is back events 9 and 10 on the timeline. At the end of 10, we see Juro Prime and Chihiro Prime escape the reset and begin Loop 2 with Event 11. Loop 2, we don't have a whole lot of information there, and it doesn't look like there are a whole lot of entries dedicated to it. We have Juro Prime and Chihiro Prime bombing a factory, which is Event 12. We have the Tetsuya and Tomi of Loop 2 talking in front of Tomi's ruined apartment, where it looks like Keitaru 2 and Chihiro Prime find them. Event 14. We have the scene of Juro Prime shooting and killing at least Chihiro 2, Megami 2, Sekigahara 2, and he wounds Tetsuya 2 before Chihiro Prime shoots him with a magic gun and basically anesthetizes him. We also know that Tomi in Loop 2 was another one of his victims there, based on the whole android scene, as Chihiro Prime tells the android what happened. And then later on, you have Chihiro Prime sending Tetsuya number 2 around the reset via the armless biped Sentinel. But here is something that trips me up on this whole thing. We've got an extra Chihiro. Technically 2, but now we have a really extra Chihiro in this whole thing. And we'll see if I can explain. When Chihiro Prime sends Tetsuya 2 across the reset into loop number 3, he meets a teenage Chihiro at the beginning of the loop. Who the hell is it? Who the hell is that one? Because the Chihiro that should have been the appropriate age to be that one was shot and killed by Juro on the bridge. The appropriate age, that would have been Chihiro 2, but she's dead.
Could she have been replaced because she was that important?
I don't know.
I'm
so
just throwing
here's the
theories
thing:
out there.
did she survive the attack? She could have survived, but it doesn't seem like they. It doesn't seem like they ever made that insinuation. Was there an entire loop that went by while? Did Tetsuya sit out an entire loop and met Loop 3's Chihiro in Loop 4?
Have we already discussed the possibility that one of the Chihiros is an android?
I don't think we've discussed it, and I can't rule it out. It could be an android. But whoever that Chihiro is the one that becomes the nurse for Loop 3. But where did she start from? I have no idea. I know, you're loving this. Yeah, I have no idea there, though. That's the problem. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there was an extra loop. I'm pretty sure that someone managed to sneak in an extra Chihiro. Chihiro didn't actually die in that attack. Or we've got an android walking around. Don't know. But we also know that there's something off about Nurse Chihiro, as evidenced by Rinya. Rinya says she's acting a little strange. But then there's also the tiny Chihiro walking around. So who knows? This goddamn game.
Maybe it's the DD426. Maybe she learned something about Tetsuya. Who knows?
Maybe.
Maybe Tiny Chihiro is actually the friends we made along the way.
No. She is not.
She is not in any way a friend.
No. She is not a friend right now. So.
But she's Miura's little sister.
Uh-huh. Not anymore, she's not.
Isn't Miura also... Is he also fucking BJ?
Yes, yes. I'm assuming
So Chihiro is BJ's little sister, got it.
It's a cork point!
God damn it. Okay, so we were recording a corkboard video last week, and I'm sitting here rereading something that I'd written down literally weeks ago. Where the hell is it? Where the hell is it? I gotta find it just to...
See, I remember what you said as a result of this.
Yeah.
Wait a damn minute.
So yeah, it was like the first video of the last section, which would have been the third recording session we had. So I'm reading through this. I'm gonna read it again, at least the part of it. I just gotta find where Takatoshi is amped up to jump into fighting, but Okino talks to Takatoshi and suggests looking at the Sentinels and seeing if there are decent refit options for upgrades. Okino then says that the meta chips that they've been earning are used to upgrade the Sentinels and terminals as well as create new weapons. Takatoshi asks why he didn't say anything sooner, and Okino says, "Oh, it's new and untested." And I repeat again, it's like, god damn, that's an awfully awkward way to introduce meta. And something clicked in me and went, wait a minute. They haven't done that at any other time. They have not broken the fourth wall. Well, they did it once other time to talk more about the meta chips. But it's like, what if they aren't breaking the fourth wall there? Because it would be really weird to just have that one instance of them breaking the fourth wall. So, and this was playing out in my mind, and I think Star and Lantern were just... I don't know what the look on their faces were, but I bet they were leaning in towards the mic and just waiting to what I had to say next.
Is that accurate?
Because
I remember we had 8 look on our face.
Because I'm like, that's an awfully clunky way to do the meta. And now,
yeah, I think I may have been leaning in for this.
And I just kind of go, what if it's a game?
So, like,
what if
this is some Doki Doki shit?
We getting there. No, but what if the whole Sentinel combat thing is a video game implanted into the simulation?
What? Wait. What? I thought it was the final battle.
It is, but what if it's a video game?
How does that... But then what's the point?
I can't tell you that much yet. But no, think about it. If it's a game, if it's a video game, that explains why they're naked.
Actually, I think that raises more questions as to why they're naked.
Hang on. So you remember the scene when Ninji was talked to about the code, where he was asking about Tommy after he died on the train, and he was brought up in the exact same viewpoint that you see in the Sentinels.
Yeah.
When they're in the Sentinels, they're in their pod.
Wait, but wasn't there one time we saw Chihiro in a Sentinel and she was fully clothed?
That was the catsuit version, yes. Which I'm willing to bet there's special reasons for that. I have a feeling that the codes to actually remember, that's a Chihiro from a previous loop.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to bet that there's something about that makes her unable to get to her clone. Because she wasn't written, her AI wasn't written with special privileges at the beginning of that loop. That's the only way I can rationalize this, okay?
I'm so confused.
13 Sentinels, everybody!
But no, they go for the combat scenes. They go into their pod.
Yeah.
And the display pops up, and it looks, for all the world, it feels like they're in a Sentinel cockpit, but they're just getting a game display out in front of them.
So is it practice for the actual final battle?
Don't know.
Only one way to find out if any of this is accurate.
And that's to play the game. But that's where my hamsters have been for the past 2 weeks.